Chosen one, pause for a moment. This isn't meant to rush you. It's meant to reach you. If you're hearing this now, understand something sacred. You didn't arrive here by accident. You were guided, timed, positioned. Heaven itself slowed things down just enough for this message to cross your path. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because timing matters when a soul is standing at the edge of realization. God does not speak in chaos. He speaks in moments of stillness. And this message arrives because you are finally quiet enough to hear it. Chosen one, you've been carrying something silently. Questions without answers, pressure without explanation, a sense that something in your life feels unfinished, unresolved, or just slightly misaligned. You fought battles no one applauded, walked through shadows while still showing light to others. And yet deep down you knew there had to be more meaning to what you survived. This is that moment of recognition when mystery starts to lean toward truth. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment Aman Aman if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is about to speak directly to you, not to your past, not to your fear, but to the purpose God planted in you long before this moment found you. Here is the revelation. God has been watching closely, investigating the patterns, measuring the weight you've carried, observing how you kept moving even when clarity felt distant. What looked like delay was actually divine timing. What felt like silence was preparation. Light has been forming quietly behind the scenes, waiting for the precise second your spirit would recognize it without doubt. Chosen one, the reason this message feels urgent isn't because something bad is coming. It's because clarity is. A truth you couldn't see before is about to surface. Something you've been questioning internally is about to make sense. God is validating what you felt but couldn't explain. You were never lost. You were being positioned. Stay with me for the next few seconds. Let your heart stay open, because what you're about to hear may finally bring understanding to what you've been carrying quietly, and reveal why this message had to find you right now. Chosen one, this moment is not random. It may feel quiet, ordinary, even unremarkable on the surface, but beneath it, something precise is unfolding. Messages like this do not travel through noise by accident. They arrive when a soul is ready to receive direction, not because everything is clear, but because clarity is about to matter. You are hearing this now because something ahead requires awareness, not speed. Discernment, not impulse. Think back over the last few days or even the last few weeks. Haven't you felt a subtle pause in your spirit? A sense that life is asking you to slow your inner world even as the outer world keeps moving? That feeling is not confusion, it is preparation. When God wants to guide you, He doesn't always give answers first. Sometimes He gives timing, and timing, when recognized, becomes protection. Chosen one, if this message had reached you earlier, you might not have understood it. You might have dismissed it, rushed past it, or listened with your mind instead of your spirit. And if it had arrived later, the moment to act with wisdom might have already passed. That is why it is reaching you now. Heaven waits until your awareness can meet the message without distortion. Isn't it interesting how certain words only make sense when the heart is finally ready? There is something ahead of you, a choice, a transition, a conversation, or an internal decision that doesn't need force, it needs clarity. Rushing into it would blur the outcome. Hesitating too long would dull your intuition. So this message steps in between, asking you to stay present, to observe, to listen, to notice what your spirit has been sensing quietly beneath your thoughts. God speaks when lives reach crossroads, not always dramatic ones, but meaningful ones. Moments where the direction you choose subtly reshapes the season ahead. And chosen one, you are standing at one of those intersections now. Can you feel it? That sense that what comes next will carry weight beyond the moment? This message is not here to control you. It is here to align you, to remind you that you don't have to rush to be chosen. You already are. You simply have to move with awareness instead of pressure. When you do, the path opens with less resistance and more peace. So stay with this moment. Let it settle. Let it guide your attention inward before you step outward. Because what's ahead doesn't require urgency, it requires presence. And the fact that you're hearing this now is proof that you're ready to walk forward with clarity instead of haste. Chosen one, God is not trying to get your attention about what everyone else can see. He is speaking to what you have been carrying quietly. The thoughts you revisit late at night, the questions you turn over in your heart without ever saying them out loud. There is a decision you've been holding, a worry you've been managing in silence, or a question you've been afraid to fully ask. And this message is not confronting you from the outside. It is meeting you exactly where you are. God often speaks to what remains unspoken. He listens beneath your words, beneath your prayers, beneath even your understanding. You may have presented one version of yourself to the world, strong, capable, composed, while another version wrestled privately with uncertainty. Heaven sees both. And this message is directed to the part of you that didn't feel safe enough to be visible. Chosen one, have you noticed how the things that weigh the most are rarely the ones we discuss openly? They live in pauses, in moments of reflection, in the space between decisions. You may have been telling yourself you'll figure it out later, that clarity will come eventually. But God is gentle, not distant. He does not wait for crisis to speak. He speaks when awareness can still prevent regret. This message is not here to pressure you into an answer. It is here to invite honesty. Honest reflection, honest acknowledgement of what you've been avoiding because it felt complicated, emotional, or too personal. God meets you where you are, not where others think you should be, not where you believe you're supposed to be by now. That alone is grace. There is something about your current situation that requires inner alignment before outer action. You may feel torn between options, pulled between comfort and growth, or uncertain whether your hesitation is wisdom or fear. God is not disappointed in your questioning. Questioning is often the doorway to discernment. Ask yourself, what have I been hoping would resolve itself without my participation? Chosen one, attention does not mean alarm. It means care. When God draws your focus to something, it is because He wants to guide you through it, not leave you alone with it. You are not being exposed, you are being supported. The very fact that this message resonates means you are already listening at a deeper level than you realize. So stay open. Let the quiet thing come into the light of awareness. Not to be judged, but to be guided. Because what God is trying to get your attention about is not a mistake you made. It is a moment of choice being approached with wisdom. And as we continue, clarity will begin to take shape around what your spirit already knows is important. Chosen one, ignoring guidance does not always look like rebellion. Sometimes it looks like staying busy. It looks like trying harder, pushing forward, telling yourself that effort alone will eventually break the cycle. But there are moments when movement without direction only deepens the loop. And this is one of those moments. This message is not confronting you because you failed. It's reaching you because you've been repeating something without realizing why. When guidance is ignored, patterns repeat quietly, not loudly, not dramatically. They repeat through familiar emotions, familiar disappointments, familiar delays. You may have noticed how certain situations keep returning in different forms. Different people, different opportunities, different seasons. But the feeling underneath remains the same. Have you ever wondered why you keep arriving at similar crossroads even after doing everything you thought was right? Chosen one, effort is powerful, but effort without alignment can become exhausting. You've been strong, you've been consistent, you've shown up even when it cost you. But God never asked you to carry everything alone. Direction matters because it preserves your strength. Without it, you can give your best energy to the wrong path and wonder why progress feels heavy instead of freeing. Ignoring this message wouldn't stop your life. It would slow your clarity. It would keep you circling lessons instead of passing through them. God doesn't repeat lessons to punish. He repeats them to protect. Each cycle you encounter is an invitation to notice what hasn't been acknowledged yet. What truth have you been sensing but postponing? What inner nudge have you explained away as overthinking? This is not about guilt. It's about awareness. When you pause long enough to listen, you begin to see the pattern from above rather than from inside it. And that perspective changes everything. The loop breaks not when you push harder, but when you choose differently. with insight instead of impulse, with wisdom instead of urgency. Chosen one, being stuck does not mean you're incapable. It means you've been loyal to a version of yourself that no longer fits the direction ahead. God is inviting you to move forward differently, not faster, not louder, but clearer. Can you feel that quiet shift beginning? That sense that something doesn't need to be repeated anymore? This message exists so you don't waste another season proving your strength when what's required is your attention. Direction is mercy, and when you receive it, movement becomes lighter, progress becomes intentional, and the cycle finally loosens its grip. Stay present, because what comes next is how you step out of the loop and into alignment. Chosen one, this message was never meant to alarm you. It was not sent to create fear in your heart or urgency in your breath. Fear constricts, but divine truth expands. This message arrives as a gentle widening of your inner space, the kind that allows clarity to enter where confusion once lived. It comes not to rush you forward, but to help you finally exhale. Have you noticed how your spirit has been craving calm more than answers? What this message is meant to bring is understanding, the kind that settles rather than shakes. When God brings clarity, it does not shout, it illuminates. Suddenly, what once felt tangled begins to make sense, not because everything is solved, but because you can see where you are and why. And when you understand your position, pressure loses its grip. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop blaming yourself for not moving fast enough. You begin to trust the timing that has been shaping you all along. Chosen one, peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of alignment. When your actions, thoughts, and inner truth begin to agree with one another, the noise fades. This message is meant to restore that alignment. It is meant to remind you that you are not behind, broken, or disconnected. You are being repositioned. Have you felt that subtle internal shift? The sense that something inside you is finally lining up? Clarity also brings permission. Permission to slow down without guilt. Permission to release expectations that were never yours to carry. When understanding arrives, you no longer feel the need to prove anything. You move with intention instead of reaction, and in that space, peace settles gently, like light through a window that was always there but finally uncovered. This message is meant to soften the inner resistance you've been holding, not because you're weak, but because you've been vigilant for too long. Alignment invites rest without retreat. It allows you to stand still and still feel forward momentum. Can you feel how pressure fades when you stop fighting for control and start trusting for clarity? Chosen one, the gift being offered here is not urgency, it is stability. Not fear, but focus. Not confusion, but calm assurance. As you receive this understanding, notice how your shoulders relax, how your breathing slows, how your mind becomes quieter. That is alignment returning. That is peace remembering your name. And as this clarity settles, it prepares you gently for what comes next, not with strain, but with grace. Chosen one, this message meets you in a season where your inner world is quietly rearranging itself. You may not have announced this change to anyone, but you can feel it. What once demanded all of your energy no longer holds the same weight. Old priorities are loosening their grip, not because they were wrong, but because you have grown beyond them. This is how alignment begins, not with noise, but with subtle internal shifts that feel both unfamiliar and strangely right. Have you noticed how certain desires no longer pull at you the way they once did? Right now, clarity is rising where confusion used to sit. Situations that once felt foggy are beginning to reveal their purpose, not all at once, but piece by piece. God does not overwhelm you with understanding. He unfolds it. And as this understanding unfolds, you start recognizing patterns. Why certain doors closed, why some connections faded, why delays were actually protection. What felt like uncertainty was preparing your perception. Can you see how your perspective is changing even before your circumstances do? This message applies to your life because you are standing at a turning point that looks ordinary on the surface, but carries long-term significance beneath it. The choices in front of you now may seem small: how you respond, where you place your attention, what you tolerate, what you release. But these are not minor decisions. They are seeds, and seeds determine harvests. When God invites you to adjust your thinking and actions now, it is because He is safeguarding the version of you that is still forming. Small shifts carry immense power in divine timing. Choosing peace over reaction, discernment over impulse, patience over pressure. These choices protect your future self from unnecessary battles. They keep you from repeating cycles that once drained you. And as you honor these small internal changes, you may feel lighter, clearer, more anchored. That is not coincidence. It is confirmation. Have you felt that gentle sense of relief that comes when you stop forcing what no longer fits? Chosen one, your life right now is not in transition by accident. You are being taught how to move differently, how to listen deeper, how to act with wisdom instead of urgency. The confusion you once feared is dissolving into understanding. The pressure you carried is being replaced with intention. And as your priorities shift, you begin to recognize what truly matters. Not what demands the loudest attention, but what nurtures lasting peace. Let this message remind you that the small, quiet changes you are making today are building protection around your tomorrow. Trust the clarity you are receiving. Honor the wisdom growing within you. And ask yourself, what would change if you fully believed that these gentle shifts are guiding you exactly where you're meant to be? Chosen one, the moment you have just experienced is not meant to be rushed into action. It is a pause, a sacred stillness placed intentionally in your timeline so that the decisions you make next carry weight, clarity, and purpose. Before you do anything, before words are spoken, before steps are taken, pause. Let the echoes of this message settle in your heart. Reflection is not hesitation, it is preparation. Can you feel the difference between acting from reaction and moving from understanding? This is the space God is inviting you into now. After hearing this, stay calm. Calmness is not passive, it is power contained. It allows your mind to process without panic, your heart to integrate without confusion, and your spirit to respond without distortion. There is a rhythm to divine guidance, a cadence that moves at the speed of insight rather than impulse. Have you noticed how life often seems to demand immediate answers, yet the wisest ones always emerge from quiet, intentional thought? That is exactly what this pause is giving you, a chance to breathe, to observe, and to recognize what truly matters before motion begins. Remain open. Openness does not mean indiscriminate acceptance. It means being willing to see what was hidden, to consider perspectives you may have overlooked, to let clarity rise instead of insisting on certainty. Guidance flows best to those who can receive it without resistance, those whose hearts are soft enough to feel it and sharp enough to recognize it. Ask yourself, am I listening to my fears, or am I listening to the quiet truth beneath them? This is where discernment lives, and this is where you are meant to dwell for just a little while longer. Patience is the bridge between hearing and doing. Trust is the soil in which the seeds of guidance grow. Wisdom is the light that illuminates the path between intention and action. Together, they form the environment in which your next steps will be most fruitful. Moving too quickly, even with the best intentions, can turn clarity into confusion and opportunity into misstep. But moving with patience, trust, and wisdom ensures that every decision is aligned with the unseen architecture of your life, the divine currents shaping what is to come. Chosen one, this is your moment to anchor yourself. Sit with the message. Let it speak beneath the noise of the day. Let your spirit absorb it fully before responding outwardly. In these next hours, days, or even moments of reflection, you are forming a foundation stronger than urgency could ever provide. Can you feel it settling? That sense of alignment, of calm power, of readiness without rush? That is exactly where guidance works best, and that is exactly where you are being asked to remain. Before the next chapter opens, before the next step takes shape, before divine timing completes its quiet orchestration around you. Move slowly, observe deeply, trust fully. Your actions after this reflection will not be accidental. They will be prophetic, intentional, and in perfect resonance with the path you were always meant to walk.